Hi, my name is Julian with richandregular.com, and I'm also a contributor to NextAdvisor. This year, I am thinking a lot about Father's Day. In fact, I took some time to think about my own experience growing up as a kid in Brooklyn, New York City, which naturally made me think about some of the lessons that my father taught me. When I was growing up in New York, the reality is I didn't know many families or households with a father in them. There were just not that many positive black male role models to live by. So when I think about what I want to pass on to my son and the type of lessons that I want to teach him, there's obviously an economic lens to that. My family has been pursuing financial independence for the last 8 years, and thankfully we're at a point where we've saved enough for retirement. What that means is we can approach the next season of income earning very differently. We can afford to be creative. We can afford to take risks. We can afford to really invest in ourselves. And most importantly, we can afford to take breaks to spend more time as a family. And that's really important to me. When I think about my wife, for example, one of the things that come to mind is the fact that she has the right and the ability to also contribute to our household. And that's something that wasn't really a part of my upbringing. So when I think about my son and the type of role model that I want to be, there's a bit of a rub between what I experienced as a kid and some of the social and cultural norms there. And as much as I appreciated that because it afforded me a pretty good lifestyle, all things considered, those aren't necessarily things that I want to model for my son and my family when I go forward. I want him to know that his mom also has the ability and chose to contribute to our household. She's not just my wife or my life partner, she's also my business partner. And when I think about my father, for example, he, like a lot of Jamaicans, it's a bit of a running joke in the black community that Jamaicans work really, really hard. They always have more than one job, maybe sometimes 2 or 3. And my family was no different. My father worked as an accountant in a hotel in Manhattan. And on the side, he started a tax business. So he leveraged his bookkeeping skills to start his little, I guess what you would call his side hustle back then. And even through retirement, he used those skills and used that business to earn some supplemental income, which is really, really great. But the downside to that is he wasn't always available because he was always working. And so again, as much as I appreciate that and we appreciate the contribution and all of the things that additional income was able to afford us, the journey and the process of earning that income meant that he wasn't always available. And my mother was not that different. Sometimes she worked 2 and in some cases 3 jobs to do whatever she could to help ensure that my upbringing and that I was healthy and that our home, that we had everything that we needed. That's all great and admirable, but unfortunately it doesn't always mean that there's a lot of time to nurture relationships and create memories. And so when I think about our approach to building wealth and planning for an early retirement and growing our business, we're mindful of that. And one of the primary motivators for us, and specifically for me as I'm thinking about this Father's Day, is that I want to make sure that whatever we do, we're putting family first. So when I think about what I want to teach my son, some of the lessons that I want to keep from my childhood, from my father, it's really interesting because there's some things that I want to keep and there's some things I don't. I definitely want to keep the importance of having a strong work ethic because I think it's important for my son to have that and to know that he's going to have to work hard. But I also want to make sure that my son knows that no matter how hard he works, no matter how good of a job he gets, he'll never be able to work harder than his money can work for him. And so we're going to make sure through estate planning, through our will, through insurance policies, through our taxable brokerage accounts and retirement accounts, and especially through a custodial IRA, that not only does he have a strong work ethic embedded in who he is, but he also has the capital and the resources to pressure test some ideas just in case he wants to follow in his father's entrepreneurial footsteps. Thank you so much for listening to my journey down memory lane, and I hope you all have a wonderful Father's Day.